Welcome to FootballGameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our NFL Week 6 preview between the New Orleans Saints and the New England Patriots. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Saints.
The Saints enter this ball game averaging over 26 points a game offensively, and this week versus New England, maximizing possessions are going to be huge, which is why it's important for the Saints to get the Patriots to really respect the running game. And like I've said before, the Saints can run the football no matter whom the back is in the backfield. It's all about want to and not being predictable by personnel and by formation. Defensively, the Saints are doing an excellent job in applying pressure, and this week versus the Patriots, I will look for Rob Ryan to find creative ways to send speed off the edge. And when I say speed, I'm referring to corners and safeties in addition to the linebackers that are coming off the edge in that 3-4 defense. Also versus New England, you can't allow yourself to fail on third downs. The Patriots do a great job of isolating the individual matchups and taking advantage of your defenders in space. Now let's move over to New England in this matchup, and they're coming off a very tough loss versus Cincinnati, in which they had many opportunities to win that ball game. They failed to execute throughout the course of the matchup, which is why they lost. Now versus New Orleans, look for the Patriots to work combo routes to the flat safety side in an attempt to high-low him and put him in a bad situation. I would also expect a healthy dose of both Bolden and Blunt running out of spread sets, as I think they can have good success in staying ahead of the chains. Defensively for New England, it's all about matching up versus the Saints personnel. Last week versus Cincinnati, they were burned by double tight end sets. And while the Saints don't utilize double tight end sets in the passing game with Ben Watson and Jimmy Graham, they do different things on the interior to attack with Jimmy Graham as well as Marcus Colston. So these guys will have to have a better job in not only aligning themselves properly, but executing and making the play versus the Saints passing game.
We've already seen so far this season the Saints use multiple fronts. We've seen 3-4, we've seen 4-3, we've even seen 3-3-5. And I think this week versus the New England Patriots, they can go situational 46 defense in the red zone. I think it'll help these guys out. We know your 46 is when you have both guards covered, and we know and the backers are in the gaps. So what we're going to do here, let's say if the Patriots want to run their crosses, they want to confuse the defense, they want to try to get your linebackers influenced and find a quick, easy pop to the end zone. So what they're going to do, they're going to send two crosses over. You're going to send this crosser here, and this will be the second cross is going to work his way up and cross. So they're trying to influence your linebackers in a certain situation, try to make them, to try to high-low them. So how the Saints can communicate out this defense, one, you're going to get interior pressure with your three guys over the guard, center, and guard, and you're going to send on the outside your backer. You're sending an extra guy, so you're going to try to force a quick throw. Now what you want to do is be well protected in coverage. Your corner will drop back. They're dropping back. You have your flat defender here with the strong safety dropping underneath. You also have your flat defender here with the linebacker dropping underneath another quick pass. And how we're going to ride this route here, we're going to have the outside backer push, get a good hit, and ride this second crosser. Why? Because we have the other backer step to influence the Brady, thinking that he's not going to get underneath this first crosser, and he's closing in on that crosser, and you have your free safety drifting and dropping back in his third. So you essentially playing cover three, but you also are working and communicating underneath. So you're protecting the flats, and you have the two crossers covered. So I think that's how they can go a situational 46 in the red zone to take away that first crosser, which will probably be a tight end, and that second crosser, which would be a taller wide receiver, to try to get a touchdown. So I think the Saints do have the personnel and they do have the creativity defensively to make a stop in the red zone. We know the New Orleans Saints love to spread the field with different personnel groupings. Sometimes you may see both Jimmy Graham and Marcus Colston on the inside to try to influence the defense. And I think the New England Patriots can have some success robbing the middle of the field versus the Saints using a dime defense. So we see how the Saints love to spread out. We got a nickel guy here, dime back here, and you have Colston and Jimmy Graham in the middle with Robert Meacham on the outside to try to stretch the defense. And what we're going to do, we're going to rob the middle of the field because they love to send Jimmy Graham down the middle of the field. So what we're going to do here, let's just say Sproles or whoever's in the backfield is going this way. That's just going to pull this linebacker here. So we got the back covered. Now we have the cornerbacks on the inside of the wide receivers. Why? Because we're forcing them to go to the outside, using the sideline as your friend. So that's how we're covering the receivers on the outside, so they're a non-factor. So we still have two safeties deep. Now what we're doing, Saints want to run here. They want to run Jimmy Graham in the middle of the field where there's a big void, but that's where the robber is, because Breeze is going to think the safety is splitting the tight end and the receiver. We have a fast guy in Robert Meacham. The safeties want to get over top of Meacham more so than they want to get over top of Jimmy Graham. That's not the case. You're robbing the middle because we're dropping the free safety back in the deep third. Dime back is also running with Colson running down the hash, and the free safety won't get on his horse until he sees the strong safety starts to move over, so that way you don't get beat by alignment before the snap. So that's how the Saints can effectively expand the defense, but that's how the Patriots, utilizing a dime defense, can be in great position. I think that's how they can have some success, robbing Jimmy Graham over the middle, playing Colson with the dime back. If they decide to put those guys on the inside, you don't have to worry about Robert Meacham. You can trust your personnel versus the Saints receivers on the outside. You really have to worry about Graham and also Colson. I think the Patriots can have a chance this week versus New Orleans if they decide to rob the middle of the field and take away their biggest weapon, which is Jimmy Graham, the tight end.
The X factor for the Saints in this ball game will be the other offensive options. I'm pretty sure the Patriots will do a great job of trying to take away Marcus Colson as well as Jimmy Graham. So the other options like Robert Meacham, Kenny Stills, Nick Toon, even Darren Sproles are going to have to step up and make plays consistently. The X factor for the Patriots will be their secondary and how well they match up versus the Saints' multiple personnel and multiple formations. If they can match up properly, this is going to be a great game because they have the talent back there in the secondary to compete. Now here are some coaching points for both teams in this ballgame. For the Saints, you want to bracket the slot receiver of the New England Patriots. Whomever is going to line up in the slot, bracket him, take him away, and trust your outside personnel to make plays. You have to win the field position battle versus New England. You want to make them drive the length of the field, and that way you give your defense that much more of a chance to get Brady off of the field. And you want to have that run game develop early. You can't wait until the fourth quarter to try to run the football. You have to develop some type of balance versus a Bill Belichick coach defense. And for the Patriots in this ball game, you want to go up tempo. The best way you can neutralize the Saints pass rush and ability to get pressure is to go up tempo, force these guys to think on the fly. And on offense, I would keep it tight. That's with tight formations, condensed formations, and that way you can take advantage of the Saints over aggressiveness. And at times, I would match up Aqib Talib versus Jimmy Graham. That's an ideal matchup. I think Talib can win more often than not. So in certain situations, you want to match him up versus Jimmy Graham. I like the Saints in this ballgame. I think this is a situation where the Saints have one too many offensive weapons for you to match up defensively. I think that's going to cause a problem for New England. So I think the Saints go on the road and knock off the Patriots. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Saint fan forums and Patriot fan forums for always showing football game plan support.